what you want.
Welcome back. No
And
means nerds. No
you
means
getting what
nobodies.
you need.
No means know-it-alls.
No means no podcast for the last 2 months. Sorry.
That's right. No means no podcast for the last 2 months. Good one. This is the No Means No Thing, No Means Nothing podcast. The podcast where three absolute, complete, and utter fucking imbeciles try their hardest to figure out what the very best No Means No song is of all time. Of course, spoilers, there isn't one. I'm one of your hosts, Jordan.
I'm Matthew. Hello.
I'm Michelle. Hey.
You've probably forgotten our names. You've forgotten all about us. You forgot this podcast fucking existed because we didn't disappear off the face of the earth, but we've been gone. It's our winter break.
There's been a lot of No Means No Social stuff because of the Dead Bob tour and everything like that, and people coming into town, and so many new listeners. And I've been going out to shows again, and talking about what I do. No, I'm not a musician, but I do this thing, and I think we've gained a lot of new listeners, and I've had to say to people, hey, don't start with the most recent one. Don't start with the first one. Maybe dip in the middle somewhere because, it's a good interview, but it's not going to make any sense to you. So that's right. Our last one was a wonderful interview with our wonderful guests to Canada and the editors and producers of the Polish translation of the No Means No book, From Obscurity to Oblivion, which I am not going to try and pronounce in Polish. Although it would probably be amusing to hear me try. This is going to be more of an actual episode according to our regular pattern. So if you're listening for the first time, hello.
Stop. Go back.
Go
Turn
back.
around. Well, be like Andy's friend. I forget your name. I think I figured it out because you just joined the Facebook group after that. But Andy, not band Andy, but Andy. I think Andy McAuliffe. Forget his last name. Sorry, Andy. Who's on the Facebook group? Who had converted his good friend to be a No Means No fanatic, and who then went and binged the first 20 episodes of our podcast. Yeah, right? So that's what you want to do. You want to go back and binge the shit out of that early shit and then catch up with us here, which means you'll get to this episode in about 3 months probably. So hello from the future. But for the rest of you idiots who've been following us for God knows why and have been waiting for us, there's been plenty to do. You've all, first of all, elephant in the room, you've all read the book. Or most of you have the book. Many of you, some of you.
Maybe
and if you don't, we're not intending to be like mean or anything. We're sorry that you don't have it yet.
No.
Yeah, some people are just getting it now.
It does appear, I can't say this for sure, but there's been, I seem to piece together that it could be that the first edition may be sold out, which is not a bad thing, certainly not for Jason and PM Press, but I bet it would also mean that there'd be a second printing. So there's no way this will remain unavailable for those that this has been unavailable for. I can't imagine. I have no inside knowledge on that front, but that would be my hope. In any event, if you can get your hands on a copy, do, because it's fucking phenomenal.
We should mention that there's what the fuck date was it? Was it February 7th? I wrote it down. There's going to be a book signing in Vancouver.
Oh, that's right.
There's one in Victoria as well.
And I think and is it both of those? I think John will be there, and then there's the other
February
authors.
7th is Vancouver, and there's a book release also of the what's that other band?
Mudhoney?
Mudhoney.
Yeah, it's a book about Mudhoney, and a member of Mudhoney's going to be there. And,
that's great.
I think Nardwar is facilitating.
Yes.
Nice.
And Neptune Records at the Vancouver one, which I believe is just the day before or after the Victoria date, which is at Bolin Books. And Jason has been saying it is free, but sign up to get your admission ticket anyway, because it may sell out even though things are not selling. They can only they have a certain capacity. Yeah.
And Dead Bob is back.
Cabbage Patch Dolls frenzy.
No,
that's what's going to happen.
If you're in the U.S., it's the new Stanley Cup frenzy, whatever the fuck that is.
God.
Well, actually, thinking back to those Cabbage Patch Dolls, I was having a discussion with somebody recently about the tendency of 80s toys to smell like stuff. Like there's the strawberry shortcakes and Stinkor from He-Man, and then the Cabbage Patch Doll's head smelled like baby powder, but it also, I don't have siblings, but I did see siblings that would just grab the feet of their Cabbage Patch doll and wail their sibling with that hard head on the other end.
Oh yeah,
Just like the Morning Star flail.
those shits were bludgeons.
God.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
How
They
did
were
we get
bludgeons.
on this subject?
I don't know, but more importantly, Dead Bob is
Yeah.
back on the road, or will be soon. They're heading out.
Right.
They're heading out across the prairies of Canada. Not yet announced the North Coast Northwest tour, but I'm anxiously awaiting. We've been promised, so I'm just going to keep waiting. Although I'm, as you guessed it, you know it, tired of waiting. But I can keep waiting.
Right. Perfect.
All right. Well, as we do on the show, you may remember, we're going to play a little game called The Power of Positive Drinking. What have I got? I've got some whiskey. This is my second whiskey of the night because it's been a 2 whiskey night, folks. So fuck that. I'm down to clown, and it tastes nice and good. Michelle, what are you drinking?
I've got my Genius Cup, and I'm going to have a couple of non-alcoholics. Here's a non-alcoholic Guinness
Ooh, but I still love that sound.
that still has the widget in there. It still sounds like the same kind of pour.
Still gives me the ASMR
Yep.
vibes.
You know that bass line after the beginning of the song "Widget" where it goes?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like that.
It does.
Yeah,
What?
it sounds like the pouring of the Guinness.
Oh, maybe that's where he got it from.
Yeah. All right, Matthew.
But
How
again-
about your fine self?
God.
Well,
what's
I've
this gonna
got this. It's a soft drink from Portugal. The
Of course
brand
it
name is Sumol, and there's actually no means no related story to do with this because I
be?
saw
Of
it.
course.
Even though it was passion fruit flavor, that is my favorite. Our friend, and even though I don't think he listens to the podcast, but long-term no means no friend Jean from Lisbon, Portugal.
Oh, yes.
He was on his way. He was coming out to Vancouver to see No Means No and Ford Pier, and sadly he missed the Ford Pier part because we stayed too long at dinner. But in any case, he I had been asking him about. I love this sumo stuff, and he actually went to the bottling plant or manufactory wherever in or near Lisbon to
Get
try
outta
and
here.
obtain a T-shirt for me of this soft drink that I like. So
Get out of here.
he actually went in there. He says he was like banging on this weird, warehouse door. Like the people are like, what do you want? And he's like, do you guys have T-shirts for sale? He's like, no. Wait a minute. I think we have some stuff from a trade show a little while ago.
that'll
So,
do.
so yeah, he got this shirt that was way too small for me, but my wife Lisa wore it out
Nice.
until it had giant
Oh,
holes in
wow.
it. So yeah. Anyway, so I have
Nice.
pineapple sumol. Cheers, Jean.
Cheers.
Oh, that's a cool
Prost,
story,
guys.
dude.
It's been a while since
Yeah.
we've tipped our glasses back on the
Yeah.
show. So, listeners, you do the same at home. Tip your glasses. Teddy, I hope you're out for a walk. I hope your
Teddy.
buddy's got a nice drink in his hand.
Yep,
You know where to drink
coffee.
anywhere you want. Toilet, couch, just not the car. Unless it's one of
Don't
these
drink from the
non-alcoholic-
toilet either. Drink on it,
Well-
maybe, but not from it.
Not from it, but on it is
Yeah.
fine. Or if you're a dog, if you're Teddy, drink from the toilet. I'm not going to judge you. Listen,
It's
I'm not
nice
here to
and
judge.
cold.
I'm not going to yuck your yum. So listen, folks. Fuck. Not only are we back. We have this is top shelf shit tonight. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
We've got 4 songs that it's one of those nights where you're like, no, none of these are going, right? We're just going to talk about them.
Right.
We're not going to throw aside this conceit of, oh, we're going to only pick one. Now, bullshit. There's too many good songs. None of them can go. But that's not true. Unfortunately, some songs are
Yep.
going to have to go.
Yep. And fuck this and fuck that.
Fuck this and fuck that. Don't like it. Don't like this at
Nope.
all.
Don't like it.
As a matter of fact, anyway.
No, sir.
But so I guess without any further preamble, because I don't have anything else to say here about that, we're going to dive into our first pairing. Oh boy. Okay, so our
Uh-oh.
first pairing tonight is Mary off of 0 + 2 = 1 from 1991. Now, Mary famously won out
Decided.
against 0 + 2 = 1 in episode 23, which was a unanimous decision. Now, don't fear. 0 + 2 = 1 got brought back in with People's Choice, including all of us voting it back in ourselves because there's no fucking way that song wouldn't be in round 2. It
Right.
hasn't come up yet. Anyway.
That was the hardest one on me, I think. That was
That was awful. That was awful. That was awful.
Yeah.
Awful all around. Just horrible.
So we brought
and-
back 0 + 2 = 1 in the
We did.
People's Choice round.
That's right.
Fairly
Yep.
handily. Or was
And
it?
it's going up tonight
Hmm.
against Somebody's off of You Kill Me, 1985, and also Live and Cuddly, 91. Now, here's the thing with Somebody's. Somebody's did not get a fair shake. It was left out of the Terrible Machine in round 1. It never went up against a song. This is Somebody's first appearance on the podcast. Period. End of story.
You're 100% sure of this.
100% sure. We even talked about this in our People's Choice episode when I said, fucking, we did not have this song in. And so we just said immediate, it's bringing it back into this round. So I'm sorry, Somebody's. You've got a hard pull. You came against a kaiju, but you are also a kaiju. This is a battle of Kong versus Godzilla, as far as I'm concerned. This is some fucked up shit. And unfortunately, based on previous ordering, I have to go first with this dumb bullshit. So we hadn't talked about order, guys, but it's me, Michelle, Matthew, and then for the second round, Matthew takes the lead.
Mary, it's time to pray, Mary. Mary, it's time to pray. My mind is melting at the bottom of the sea. My voice is eaten by the crabs. You broke me when you broke the surface. Last but not the last. I am at the end of the depth.
So if you remember, dear listeners, we do things a little differently than we did in round 1. We have the first topic round where we're comparing and contrasting, talking about lyrics, performance, et cetera, et cetera. And then we do a round 2, talking about how representative the song is of No Means No, et cetera, et cetera. I won't bore you with all that. Compare and contrast these songs. Jesus Christ. Okay, first of all, both Andy era songs, so there's that going for them in terms of similarities.
Yeah.
Very different songs. One is clearly a Rob channeled joint. Yes, it's one of Rob's, like the ones he pulled from the fifth dimension straight down into this world.
Right.
And the other is a brilliant work that I believe, if I'm remembering back to the book right, was the first one that Andy brought to the band that he had written. Pretty sure that's right. And I also thought I'd read in the book that Andy felt like it was one of his best guitar lines. And I could not find that today when I looked, so I could just be completely making that up. But it's a fucking banger song and an absolute fucking gem. These are both super, super top shelf.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, everyone remember. No, you don't. Probably don't. I do. I remember very vividly talking about Mary before. I lost my shit. There was a crab involved. I got all pissed and twee about it. The crab's back. Here it comes. There's the crab. And I got thrown off my game because I care about this song so much. This is probably used to be. Michelle knows. When we started this podcast, she was sure this was my number one song. It's
Yeah,
moved off that
I
list.
was. I
But
sure was.
it sure is up there. Maybe it's number two. I don't know. It all sounds, the more I do this podcast, it seems dumb to rank anything, but Mary's up
Right.
there for me. You know, I actually now feel like I understand more, having interfaced way more with fans on the message boards and just hearing people's opinions. There are some people who don't necessarily hold the Rob epics as highly as some of the rest of us, or as I do, for me personally. I remember one comment. I don't remember who it was. I think it was on the regular, not the regular, but the other No Means No group on Facebook, the So Right We're Wrong group, where someone was really kind of casting shade on the Rob epics as if they're
Poo-poo.
self-indulgent and things like that. I can get that. Totally get it. Well, I can understand where they're coming from. I don't feel that at all. Like that element of No Means No to me has always, from the beginning, cut right to the core. It really fucking speaks to me. Yes, this song is repetitive. Is it as acrobatic as some other songs in the sense of mixing it up a lot? No, it's got like 3 portions they repeat over and over. It drives that same bass line in over and over. It's a little variation, but that's not at all true. This is one of those songs where the repetitive nature for me gets so deeply into my nervous system, so deeply into my body's rhythms, that every part of me gets taken over by the song. Rob absolutely channels something and channels a passion. And yes, the lyrics to this are amazing. I'll talk about it in a second. But this is another one of those songs for me where you don't actually have to listen to the words for what Rob is communicating to reach you. The passion with which he sings, the quality of his singing, the quality of his voice, his modulation, the way, the intention and feeling he puts behind everything communicates as much as the actual words themselves. So I think even those people who don't carefully listen to the words on this song are still going to get the feeling of it.
Exactly.
Right? This is one of those where it really communicates it on every level of this song. And when I was listening to it this time, I kept having this vision of the two parts of the song where, you know, it starts off with the it's not the chorus, it's not even the bridge, but you know, it's the more upbeat part. It's not, this doesn't sound as dark. It's almost like I'm floating on my back on the water, just sort of enjoying the feeling of buoyancy. And it's this buoyant sound. And then this giant fist comes and just pushes your face under the water and makes you attend to what's down there. Just, my mind is buried. Just this force that comes at you that is undeniable, and it just vacillates between the two. It lets you up to breathe, and then he shoves your head right fucking down under the water again and just makes you stare at it. And then, of course, there's that middle section where everything comes back down and he really lets you breathe and really lets you listen before he just bursts right back fucking into it. And all 3 of them in one of the most powerful refrains that this band has ever put forward. That ending section, both lyrically in Rob's passion, in the way that John is playing the drums, and the way that Andy is texturing the guitar, and the way that Rob is fucking pounding that bass line is fucking incredible. I on the ride home tonight from dropping my kid off somewhere, listened to this 4 times in succession. I was like, yep, again.
Yeah, it doesn't get old. It fucking does not get old.
It is magnificent, and the power of the repetition is important. This is, you know, Matthew, you brought up the idea of a dikir before, that the kind of Sufic ritual of drone and dance. That's what this is for me. It's something very powerful. And I've always felt this song was important. I suspected it was important to Rob. And I want to read a little bit from the book, because I think I'm not going to say I feel vindicated by this, but I feel like this is something I felt. So I'm glad to hear him say it. Rob says, over the course of my songwriting in No Means No, the 3 touchstones are Mama's Little Boy, Mary, and Faceless May. If you want to know what I was about, those are the ones. It's something to do with the feminine. It's something to do with that link to everything. It's very contradictory. You'll find those songs have both heartfelt and dreadful aspects about them. So fucking true. They really, those three songs have a through line, right? And they're at the beginning, middle, and end of the band's career.
Yeah. Right, when we talked to John, he said, here's a little thought experiment. Why are these three songs the same song?
It wasn't those songs though.
Wasn't it?
These ones? No. He was talking musically. I don't think lyrically. We'll go back and look, but it wasn't those songs.
Yeah. Okay, I think it was them, but all right.
I'll go back and look, but I don't think Mary was one of them. I would have recognized that. But let's go back and look. I could be wrong. I'm not going to put a stake in that. But there. So obviously, Rob in the Rob oeuvre, in his oeuvre, and we're going to hear another one of them. I won't say what it is later. That's on the different side of this. He can often dive into what's the Slade side, the dark aspect of one's nature, but really interrogate it in a really thoughtful, humanistic way. This song is not that. This song is something that points to the other. This song is that thing that, yes, there may be a strain of ecstatic nihilism in No Means No to some degree, but at least with Rob, there was this sense I get from these songs where he stands in front of and recognizes something so fucking huge beyond himself that you just can't contend with our ordinary human being. You can't contend with it, but you can stand in awe in front of it and let it just overtake you. And this song is like opening up that channel within and letting that force come through, right? And there's, as he mentions in that quote, there's a reason the song is called Mary. There's a reason why he asks Mary to pray. There's a reason he screams Mary at the end. It's a feminine force, as it was in Mama's Little Boy, as it is in Faceless May. It's this other non-masculine, this, great nature, as it were, that's just outside of ourselves. And the passion with which he accesses that, and the passion with which he sings that, the passion with which he refers to the smallest things on the earth, the crabs, the mice, being the inheritors of the voice of that magnificent force that's beyond and behind everything, that has no truck with our fucking crosses and our fucking stones and the buildings we build or the words we call it, has no truck with any of that shit. It stands above and beyond all of that. And outside of all the brilliant little lyrical references that are in this, and there are many, and Matthew really pulled out a lot of those last time. He probably will again this time. It's the raw connection with that force and that voice that has always spoken to me about that song. There's something so true and authentic with how he stands in front of it, contends with that magnificence and violence and beauty and the sublime, the literal sublime, which is a word that means both terrible and beautiful at the same time. That's what this song is. This song is sublime. It holds both things at once with a power that, I'm sorry, I can't convince you this song is good. If you don't like this song, that's fine. But I absolutely cannot imagine hearing this song and not being moved. I can't. It's so fucking insanely powerful. Yeah, it's apocalyptic in the true sense of the word. A contention and a moment of utter change. Apocalypse doesn't mean the end of something. Apocalypse means the complete overwhelming of one order by another. And that's what this song is. It's standing and hearing and being assaulted in this beautiful way by another order. And Rob was standing right there in the middle of it, channeling that all for us. And I'm so fucking grateful for this song. It is so cathartic to me. Every single time I hear it.
He might as well be nude when he sings it.
He is in a way, right? Well, like it's a spiritual nudeness, right? Like it's this
spiritual nudeness.
And yet it's so artful. It's so artful that the nuance of the way he plays with that bass line, which, come on, that fucking bass line is one for the ages.
Yeah.
The nuance with which Andy textures it and where how that texturing grows. We talked about it before, but the where he's playing up above the neck, and it's just a tiki tiki tiki, like when it gets really quiet, and he's playing that super
harmonics on that.
It could be harmonics, but I thought maybe it was playing it. But yeah, it could be harmonics. But whatever it is, it's beautiful and precise and gorgeous. Before I talked about this a little earlier before, that absolute onslaught that's just full on,
Yep.
just the full force of the fucking universe.
The little
made manifest.
chromatics are the like the sparkling off the dew
That's
that
right.
forms on the wreckage afterwards.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
And it's I mean, I'm going to pivot now to Some Bodies a little bit, because I could talk about the song forever. I really could, and just go round and round and round about it. I just want to say it makes me feel in one of the most
Right.
deepest ways. It makes me
Yep.
feel. I feel like this is a very authentic record of something that Rob felt, and he did
Yeah.
very well at
Yep.
at crystallizing it
Mhm.
with almost no artifice between it and us.
Can I just interject something that
Yeah,
just
please.
something that occurred to me? 'Cause you were talking about the Sublime, and it just made me realize something that I kind of think about this song. I definitely feel that it comes from without some other thing, but okay, sublime is an adjective. To sublime is also a verb in chemistry. It is
That's right.
the changing of state from solid to gas, or from gas to solid, without the intervening liquid. So it's a
Huh.
transmutation
Yep.
from without, like, that seems totally uncanny, which is kind of
Yeah.
an interesting thing to think about. I don't know whether there's any. Yeah.
No, I mean,
thought
that totally fits.
appreciate-
That
yeah.
totally fits.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, that's a great description of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like something that just it passes the ordinary state. It goes from the unconscious directly to the supraconscious without
And
passing through my
with
normal
the
state.
expected. Yeah.
Without the expected. Yeah.
Yeah. It goes outside the expected.
100%. I mean, I have so many memories of lying on my floor in my first college apartment, lights off, with this
Yeah.
just cranked and
Mm-hmm.
just fucking, in good times and bad, right? And it was just, it would
Right,
be a
right.
catharsis for me. And I played this song for so many people, and many of them it really touched them. Even if I didn't make them fans of the band, this was one where, in the right circumstance, if I knew the time was right, I could play this for someone that'd be like, "Oh fuck," like Jesus
Yeah, and
Christ.
anybody who thinks it's repetitious, they're just not.
And I'm putting
hearing
words
it.
in
They're not
people's
even
mouths,
listening.
right?
But people
But-
have often said that their bass lines are repetitious, but they're not.
Yeah.
And even if it is, there's a purpose there, right? Like, that's to
Fine
me the thing.
variation
Like,
within the repetition.
it's the variation, and that repetition puts me in another state.
Yeah,
There's a reason that
exactly.
religions
Yes.
and all, there's a reason
It's
chants and
meditative.
mantras are a thing.
Yep,
It takes
yep.
you deeper into yourself and can connect you with something
Absolutely.
that doesn't get stuck in the discursive mind where, oh, I want to follow this cool bass line or this prog bit.
No.
It's like, no, it settles in more deeply so that something
Eat
else
it.
reaches out. Something else
Yeah.
makes contact, because I don't, and not everyone could do that. Not every repetition is going to work like that. But when it's connected to something so true, and it's that much of a live wire, a real
Yep,
circuit, it's fucking magic. And this song is magic.
Yeah.
Now, to pivot a minute, Some Bodies, also fucking incredible, this song. Jesus Christ. Now, wait a minute. Hold on.
Wait, what?
We must have talked about Some Bodies,
We did.
because I remember talking about the fucking.
I think we did.
But I
did it
could
go
not find
against?
any record of it. But I can't find a record of it anywhere, because I remember talking about the sound. And Andy wrote to us about how that sound at the beginning of the recording was from that little tabletop arcade game that was out in front of the studio.
yes, that's
He
right.
wrote
It
us
was
about
a
that.
goddamn game. You're right.
Fuck. But I can't find a record of it. I went through everything I could find. I could find no record of it.
Do you want me to see if we can? I got all my notes here. I can figure out what it was.
Yeah, you see if you can find it. But anyway,
right.
that's brilliant, and it's great to know now. I remember waxing poetical about how it sounded like a trapped insect or something like that, and that was one of those proofs later. Like, man, you're just full of shit. It was a video game, like but it still sounds like that. It still like something
Yeah.
straining to get released.
That's
First of
right,
all, I
it was a
love.
video
I think
game.
both of these versions of the song that are out there are fucking genius, right? I
Yep.
absolutely adore the live and Covely version of this. It
Ooh,
is
there's
so.
the original mix too.
I know there's the original mix, which I haven't heard, so I can't speak of that.
Okay.
That's Rob singing, isn't it? I think.
No, but he's sped
it's
up in a
not?
weird way.
Oh, okay. But the live and cuddly version is amazing. First of all, because it's got that initial part with Andy banter, which is, we're so fucking lucky to have that like solidified. It just would have been a mythos for me for years had we not had that, artifact to go back to and say, oh, look, this is why Andy was such a good frontman, and he fucking was. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And that fucking dentist drill guitar line is just like, talk about repetition. This is the kind of repetition that's like, oh fuck, I'm hearing the CIA talking through my fillings. Like, Jesus Christ, this is getting so deep into my head. And while Mary, and this is like two things No Means No does very well. Mary is talking about something very large and outside of ourselves.
Right.
Somebody's talks about something so deeply fundamental to the human condition in a way that's deeply funny and brilliant, right?
Mhm.
Like this urge
Isolated
and this,
within your own body.
that's right. This need to connect with other bodies, and yet the need to connect with another body as an object, right? Like this is really that feeling of, I need a body, right? And then of course, but I want your soul. I want your, give me your mind, give me your soul, and all the rest. One of the funniest bits, I fucking always love this, is that when you get a body, you get it all. Like Rob's little
Sounds
interjection
like a
is so fucking
game show
great.
host.
It is, and Rob's voice in this is so fucking great. But
It is-
God,
it is
Andy's
good.
what a front man, what a singer,
Oh
what
my
a
God, I
fucking
know it.
lead, man. Jesus Christ, the delivery in this song
What a
is so
lunatic.
what a lunatic. Is so good, and the guitar part is so fucking good in this.
Yes.
Everything about this song musically is just top shelf. No Means No, one of the best on that album. And it's oh my God, it's so fucking good on Live and Cuddly. Absolutely love it. And I think that they are so witty and so good at getting to the core of the human condition, what it means to be a being in a body, and how fucking much you just want to fuck everything, right? Especially when you're young. I think there's a lot in that, it is Sex Mad. That early album has a lot about being a body and shit like that. And well, they were younger and probably really contending with that shit a lot more, but they deal with it so smartly and with such humor and in a way such grace, because they're so crass that you can't help but be charmed by it. It's so fucking good. And the music in the song is just, it's outrageous. It's so fucking good. The wordplay is so good. And just the highlight for me is Andy's delivery in this. I think he's just,
No doubt.
it's so good. Andy is so on fire on all of the songs on this album that he sings on. And this is one of his best. And I love the guitar part in this. And I love that, just the overpressing dentist drill of that guitar riff is just fucking insane. And
Klaxon.
yes, it is a klaxon, and it's unmistakable, right? You hear half a second of that and you know exactly what this song is, and you could sing the rest of it, all the way through. If you're a fan of this band, you absolutely know it. So I think, favorite bits in both these songs. I mean, I think in Mary, one of the parts that I love everything about that song. So the whole song is my favorite part, but the part where he breaks rhythm to say of God and death and you, the way that plays with the background rhythms is so powerful. But then also later when he drops everything down, there's still such a subtle, beautiful intensity to his voice that carries as he gets quieter and is talking to Mary before the explosion. It's just fucking genius. There's nothing I don't like about that song. I have no quibbles. I don't have any quibbles with Some Bodies either. I think Some Bodies is also a perfect song. And my favorite bits of that are, I think Andy's guitar solo in the middle is fucking genius.
Yep.
And just the nature of the main guitar riff, the dentist drill riff, and how it comes back again and again at just the right times. And yet then so seamlessly goes into breaks off to go with the bass, and Andy just goes into texture mode, right? Like it's, I mean, that's what we get for Andy guitar solos, is that and that guitar solo in the middle. And they're so fucking good. It's insane. It's insane that this is the same band that did these two songs. They're so, I mean, they're of a piece, but they're so different and on such different ends of the spectrum. Absolute top shelf works. Genius, both of them. Michelle, I'm done.
Is it my turn? Okay.
It's your turn.
I found my paper. We put Somebody's against And That's Sad.
Did we? Let me find that sad.
I swear to God, that's what's on the back of my paper.
No, I believe you.
So, well, if I pulled out my paper correctly, I'd put one song on one side and one on the other. So, and that said was
Yeah,
against
there it is. And I swear to
somebody's.
God, I searched for this earlier, and it did not come up in my search.
Well,
There
And
it
which
is.
one? And which one won?
And that's sad.
no.
And that sad won. And it was me
Are
and
you
Matthew
serious?
against you.
Well, fucking yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Weird. Weird.
Well,
So,
boys.
Matthew, we had a plan for this, and I don't think we can have that plan anymore because it was
No.
actually. Oh, bummer. Oh, now I'm bummed. We'll talk about that when voting comes around.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so revisionist history. Somebody's got brought back in because we thought we hadn't brought it in, but it snuck back in because we fucked up. We double fucked up. Anyway, I'm glad it's back because it's a fucking banger.
Yeah.
It's a fucking banger. So, Michelle, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So the beginning of Mary, that Johnny Cool count off, and the immediate funk groove feel, like you on the water there. I liked that. It's the pinnacle part of the song that is prominent throughout the whole thing is this half step. I've said it before when we talked about it. That half step that ends and sometimes starts the beginning, end of each. Yes, that's what this whole song is around. That thing. And yes, and I did say that it was a shark, and that's the theme for Jaws was a half step. But still, it's so everybody knows that sound. It's menacing, it's creepy, but it's fucking awesome. Yeah, so the half step and the song showcases what you can do with that and how just those two simple notes can give you just a mindful of just gloom and upsettedness. I don't know. The riff in the verses is one of their most colossal ones ever. Like you were talking about, Jordan. Like that is just such good riff writing, and I'll never get tired of hearing it. And I never think of it as a repeat. It's I just want to hear it over and over again. It's so thunderous and heavy. John's drumming is closely mirroring both the guitar and the bass part too. That helps deliver the whole heaviness of the song. I especially like Andy's subtle guitar parts and how he slightly changes the timbre and the playing of the main riff, like we were talking about with the little like things that he does with it, and he's just never playing the same thing twice. It's incredible. This song is very intimate to me, and I know that the lyrics fit extremely well with the music. But like you were saying, Jordan, I'm not a lyrics person, but the way Rob's delivering them, man,
Right.
I know what he's saying. Or
Yeah. Yeah, you feel it.
Yeah. Somebody's. Holy shit, Andy, my God. He immediately starts this with an urgency, both in his voice and the guitar, and it's glorious. The music in this is just outrageously cool. And just like Mary, it includes a serious groove. John has loads of drum gymnastics that are a tight weave along with the music. And Rob gets a few lines in there that are perfect for his voice and lay down. The true gem in this whole thing, though, is Andy with the way he sings this. We can't talk about this song without citing the live and cuddly version. It one-ups the original.
It does. I agree. I agree. It's my preferred version. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't think you could get any better than the original, but it's so funny and
Same
cool.
guy.
Yep. The guitar solo in this is fantastic too, and the whole song has excited urgency. And I think Mary has some vibes of urgency in places too. Not the overall whole song, but it has it in places. The ending of Somebody's with that build-up is superb songwriting and intensity. Mary and Somebody's, it's really difficult to pick between the two. Neither of them is coming across as a wimp. Both of them are articulate pieces that fully represent the band and what they can deliver. One other thing. Both songs feature undeniably strong vocal deliveries. That's one of the things that's both similar about them both, because they're not half-assed in the vocal delivery at all.
Nope.
Yep.
Yeah, man. These are fucking top shelf. All right, Matthew.
Yeah, it really is pretty funk versus funk. They both have a groove. They do entirely different things, and like again, so many of these songs really have a sort of synesthetic or synesthetic and cinematic
Yes.
quality
Yeah.
for me, where I almost vividly hallucinate. And Mary definitely has clearly a religious kind of thing going on, or at least some ineffable quality coming from somewhere else. I think he just sort of pulled it in. Um, and yeah, I mean, the contrast in it, the fundamental contrast between the sort of dancey, funky part, it's almost silly, and then the absolutely stark, dark wall of the rest of it. The
Mm-hmm.
contrast uh, it wouldn't work for so many other different kinds of songs, I don't think, because it is
Right.
silly. But I mean, maybe religious ecstasy or faith is silly too. It's just sort of like like, oh, this is what makes me feel better.
Well,
Hello, wee.
and it gives you a little room to breathe too. It's
Yeah.
almost like they're being kind by going like, okay, take a breath.
We.
More's coming, but just fucking hold on here to have a breath.
Yeah. I mean, it's so ominous and dark versus
Yep.
kind of bouncy, and it is maybe that is out of the vacillation of faith, like two sides of the same coin. Lyrically, some of my favorite lines, absolutely some of my favorite lines in any No Means No song. I think it is Rob at his pinnacle of lyrical height was lyrical, proficiency. I think was probably on 0 + 2 = 1 for me.
I mean, Jesus, the fact that this and 0 + 2 = 1 are in the same album, it's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some bodies, I mean, it's simpler, but again, profound in a different way.
Yes.
How the music sort of fits the lyrics and everything like that. I sort of talked a little bit about that with that fundamental contrast in some bodies. I feel like it's more linked somehow. It's not quite so separate. There's this funky sort of dancey thing going on, but then there's also this really lurching quality of sort of like you're Michael Jackson in Thriller zombies. Like occasionally they're really, really clunky movements, but then they do something really fun and rhythmic. But there's some quality. I think Andy must have. This is a song of like profound disconnection, disaffection, disillusionment, maybe wanting to connect with things but not being able to. Still feeling isolated when he's up on stage, and there are qualities where, and in the lyrics, I also think that Pac D has some really clever lyrics, and they talk about the sort of loss of differentiation of the crowd. It's just sort of like this moving mass of meat. And I think that is this observation that is these lyrics from within somebody observing that, wanting to connect with it, feeling connected to it, being separate from it, wanting to be one with it, all at the same time, and finding that really confusing. I think there are certain qualities of Mary that are similar. This is a being unable to connect with something, and I think in Mary, it is something really fundamental, really, really powerful, but then it's hard to know what the power dynamic is. And maybe that's what Rob was talking about with Mary, that there is this other force. He's addressing whatever it is in the song is addressing Mary, something else, but it's time to pray Mary. It's telling Mary to do something, but then at the same time, absolutely disconnected from whatever Mary is. And I recognize some things, and I don't remember. Forgive me if I'm repeating myself. It's been a while ago, and I remember I really dug into this one the last time. But I think it's pretty hard not to see this as some connection with Christianity. Clearly,
Yes.
Am I a number? Am I a name? That's the tetragrammaton, this Yahweh, the name of God.
Yep.
WHYH or YHWH.
The hell are you
And then
talking
the end of Oak on You, I really do think it's like the end of nature, the end of animism, but also the end of religion. Maybe like I'm the last figure before everything ends, or
Before it began.
something similar isn't going to be sought again. It's an otherworldly song to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And the talk, I'm below the sea. The crabs crawl on me, the mice crawl on me. Those are, especially crabs. They eat the dead. Is this a dead god they eat? The mice, they sort of live on and in things that they eat. Back
Aw.
in the Middle Ages, before they understood how things worked, they thought that mice sprung directly from filth without actually being,
That's
a
right.
mammal and generating, from other mice. They just would spring up from filth and dirt.
Oh,
So, um,
that's cute.
yeah. So is this a dead god? Is it the last god? Is it an address to something outside and more powerful? That quintessential feminine that he's talking about? Is it a fundamental disconnection? Like, I'm at the end of this. I'm the last. What's next? Is there going to be anything next? If I'm the last, there is no next. Um,
Mm.
yeah. My favorite
Jesus.
bits of this song, I love John playing on the open hats in the last part of the song. It's like it's so tight, and then it's starting to come apart and become a little looser,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit more, not degenerate, but the rhythm and the tightness is beginning to come unstuck a little bit
Exactly.
towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's exhausted.
um,
It's
it's
exhausted. They
it's
let
exhausted.
themselves
It's
be
tired.
exhausted at the end, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful because that's how you feel after listening to the end of the song. It lets you
Yep.
be exhausted along with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, good point.
some bodies, it kind of does something a little bit similar. It's like they're exhausted, but they're still going.
Yeah.
It just song is relentlessly, just
Yeah.
can't stop, won't stop. I am that, undifferentiated meat automaton. I am the fleshy golem that's just going to keep going. I am composed of other bodies and am one body and want another body. Um, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm just sort of going in circles here, but I
It's
think both
hard
of
not
these
to feel
songs
that,
do
right?
that a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So I guess that's all I'll say for now.
All right.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking agree with
my
yeah.
favorite thing, my highlights of Some Bodies is all the weird sounds. That sound at
Yeah.
the beginning, that I can't even begin
Yeah.
to make that.
No. It's from a video game. I
It's
forget the
from a
name
video
of it. It's
game,
like-
but to me,
yeah.
it sounds like some tentacle of like some sea serpent just like reaching
Yeah.
in. It's like,
Or like a fucking bug that just like escaped its cage and it's like a cicada or something. That's
Yeah.
just it's fucking nuts.
and I love the there's an extra kick hit. That just
Ooh.
it's just a little bit bouncier, like boom boom. I can't even. It's
Oh no, I think I
before
know what you're
this-
talking about.
It's in the second to last bar before the bridge or before the end segment, and I love that. Yeah, I love the disaffection. I've just certainly felt that way at shows and everything like that. Maybe being a young dude in Victoria, one of those ones that connects me to Victoria, and going to shows in Victoria and being a weirdo in Victoria. Some Bodies is definitely significant to me. Lowlights of either of these songs, really nothing.
Right?
Right.
What are you
Yeah.
gonna say?
I dare you.
They're not
I
long
think-
enough. They could go on more. There could be more.
I think in any other song, I think the particular contrast of the dark versus the dancey in Murray, I would criticize that in a lot of other songs, but I can't imagine how it would be any different. It's
Right.
just so perfect the way it is, it is fully formed.
It is. Yeah, I mean, to carry off on that a little bit, to go into my round two, one of the things I love about Mary is that it deals with those antonyms and contradictions so well, right? Like he talks about, yes, buried at the bottom of the sea, but he also flies above the bats and the birds. It's something that's beyond what is lowest and beyond what is highest. It's always beyond what we can conceive of as humans as being the lowest point or the highest point. It's something outside of that. It's the
The
last.
sublime and the sublimated.
Exactly. It's the last because it's outside of any conception we can have of it. It's not something that's going to to me, I love playing with the word the last and realizing it's not just I am the last, meaning I'm the one that's at the end, but I am the last, meaning the thing that lasts, the thing that's always extant, regardless of your conceptions of it.
Oh.
It's underneath everything, always everywhere. And you've done your best to try to contend with it, to name it, to call it a word, to say it's in the trees, to say it's here, to fucking march to the crosses and worship this. But I'm just underneath all of that. I'm before it and I'm after it. And fuck you. And
Yeah.
yeah, Mary, it's time to pray. And then I'm going to fuck your shit. Like as soon as I'm gentle, then I'm just going to come down with the full fury of, like, listen, in the Old Testament and shit like that, angels were scary as fuck. Like anybody who
Yeah.
really witnessed the divine
Bunch
was
of eyes
fucked.
and spinning rings and shit. Fuck
And
that,
people were
man.
afraid. Anytime they talk about seeing angels, it was like, and I was fucking scared as shit. Like confronting the real divinity outside of the divinity is not for pussies, is what
Not
I'd
like
say.
they were super sick or high or starving. Or
Exactly. And so Rob is contending
for
with something even
pussies.
beyond that. Rob is contending with what's beyond that, beyond what we can know. So are these songs representative of No Means No as a whole? Absolutely, both of these songs
Yes.
are in different ways, like in different polls, but they are pinnacles of the oeuvre of this, right? And we've got a Rob song, we've got an Andy song, we've got
Yep.
this channeled masterpiece from beyond, we've got this beautifully crafted, fucking performed exploration of a deep part of human nature. As you guys both talked about, Matthew talked about this, being trapped in this golem of flesh, wanting connection, not being able to connect. They're both dealing with such fundamental different aspects of being a being in this world, but dealing with them so eloquently. I would say Mary is on that side where the humor is absent because it has no place. And
Right.
Somebody's is deeply enmeshed in the humor because it's needed for the topic, right?
Yeah.
So they put humor where it's needed and they leave it absent where it would get in the way. They know when to use it. It's not a
Right.
crutch. It's they're they're
Right.
fucking masters at knowing what is right for the piece and what needs to be
Yeah. Yep.
used. The tools used in both of these songs are perfect. They know exactly what they're doing. They pulled exactly the right tools out of the box and they put them to exactly the right use. And that's what's so fucking incredible about this band. Fight me. I don't care. Like
Yeah,
there's just
you're-
nothing is wrong with how they're at the top of their game. Andy is flawless in his performance. It's a pinnacle of his performance. Rob is flawless in his performance. It's a pinnacle of his performances.
Yeah, both of these are definitely high points for both of them singing.
100%.
Totally.
100%. They're a genius. Would I introduce newbies to No Means No using these songs? I have. Certainly Mary, and some bodies I would too. I think that they both work in their own way. Mary's the one I've used more often than not, for sure. But I think some bodies is eclectic enough, but not off-putting, that you could play it for someone and that they would really enjoy it. I don't
Shake your ass to it. So
you could shake your ass to it. It's pretty fucking funky.
Yeah.
I don't know, but both of these songs are. These would be easy pulls to say that they're pinnacles of the oeuvre, right? Like, yes, these are. You want to know what No Means No is? And actually, I think these two songs together, right, as saying like, here's what No Means No can be. It can be this. It can be this. Look at the fucking genius. How different is this? And yet you can tell it's the same band, but it's the space between is so huge and what connects them is so deep. It's astounding. It's astounding. What a great pull in a way. I mean, I fucking hate it, but what a great pull because two brilliant pieces of work. So I guess that's my round two. Michelle, what about your round two?
You know what? Michelle needs to do a pass because I don't think I did the second part, and I don't think I can top what the fuck you just said.
Just say. What do you think? Are they representative as a whole? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. Jesus.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, because of what you just said.
I can't cheat.
No, come on. I don't think I wrote it down. If I didn't write it down, I can't do it.
Speak from your heart, grasshopper. That's all right. I'm not gonna put you on this.
Or if your heart isn't available,
don't.
speaking from your
And
ass.
as a matter of fact, that's true. As a matter of fact, you actually did say some of that shit in your round one. Like you were talking about the oeuvre and
I
stuff
don't
like
think
that.
maybe I drew a line where I should have saved it for round one.
That's all right.
I fucked up, but yes, they're both representative Christ. And I can't top what the fuck you just said.
But what about newbies? How do you feel about that one? What would you, in terms of introducing
for
the
newbies?
songs? Yeah.
Here's the thing. I would do the exact opposite because of just the style I like. I
Yeah.
would play Somebody's because I think when you shove music in front of somebody's face, if you want them to get all serious and heady and be like, wow, this is really good, you either got to be high or you got to be sitting down
Fair.
and in the right mind space
100%.
to hear
And
something
that's when I've
like
done
that.
it. That's when I've done it for sure. I'll be clear.
Yeah.
That's when I've introduced this song to people. So I've been
Yeah.
high or been like, okay, everyone shut up.
Yeah, that
We're
kind
listening
of
to this
thing.
right
Yeah,
now.
actually, yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good
And-
point.
and-
Whereas
and,
somebody's
like-
you could put on more and just be like, hey, what do you think of this?
That's what I'm saying. I would
Yeah.
put
No,
on
I agree.
Somebody's before I would put on Mary
No
because
lies.
you gotta work your way to Mary. It's like Pink Floyd. You can't. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
You gotta be sitting down and ready.
Yeah, you can't start with the
Like
great gig in the
Somebody's
sky.
you can
gotta-
just be like, check
yeah.
this shit out. You know that
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I hear you.
All
Maggie,
right.
how about you?
I just had another thing to say about the last. I wish that bracketed subtitle for Mary would be a little more
Oh yeah, they did.
well known. It was Mary. It's actually not Mary. It's Mary the
Mary the
Last.
Last.
Last. Right,
And
right.
I thought about. I think I said this last time that the last is, and you were talking about tools. The last is a foot-shaped thing that you stretch the leather around to make a shoe.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
And what I kind of like about that is that I don't know why they call it the last. I'm sure that it has nothing to do with
Because it
anything.
kicks your ass with a shoe.
But what a lot of force is put into that thing
Mhm.
to stretch it into a particular shape, and the shape stays, but the last goes, and all that's left is an absence.
And yet the last has
Whoa.
continual has shoe after shoe after shoe
Yeah.
stretched over it, and yet it remains, and yet it's the
Okay,
shape that
all right.
everything else
Now-
is.
now
Yeah,
it's
we could
getting
keep
a
going over,
little,
but I love that. That's what I fucking.
And
Sorry,
shoes.
sorry, Andy Kerr. I know we just fucking totally lost you. You just went to sleep, but
Whatever. Shoes. What the fuck?
yeah, what the fuck are they talking about? All right, anyways.
See, this is yeah, like Andy once described. I think you were the Kirk and Michelle
You're the
was the
Spock.
Bones and I'm the Spock.
I was
kind
the
of thing.
Bones.
So,
Yeah.
like I thought
I'm
about
not- Yeah.
no means no. Rob is the head and John is the heart, and then you'd want to say one is the hands, but John is also the hands, and Andy is the ass.
Shaking the ass shaking.
Andy
Yeah, exactly.
is an ass.
Yeah,
He shakes that ass, man.
yeah,
He gets your
exactly.
ass
Okay.
shaking. He's the
All right.
boogeyman.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah,
Kick-ass.
Mary, I would say, is
Kick-ass.
Jesus
extremely
Christ.
representative in terms of themes and in terms of playing, and in terms of them all playing together. I would say both of these songs are very representative. Very different
Yep.
feels and very different. But in terms of big scary themes versus kind of confusion within one's own body, from the big to the very, very fundamental, both totally representative of No Means No's themes,
Yep,
important in their oeuvre, like okay, Somebody's is on Live and Cuddly, so it's
Yep.
interesting that it's all their early stuff, all the Andy albums, and I never really noticed before, but there's no Mama songs on Live and Cuddly, so and that's
fucking, you're right.
that's a pretty good
Huh.
Yeah.
cross section of that particular period. So
Mhm.
yeah, I would say Somebody's, but it isn't one of the first songs that people mention. And
True.
Mary, I think, should be better known as like a representative No Means No song, but it kind of isn't, at least in my experience. It's not one that people talk about, and it's not mentioned as much as others like Rags and Bones and stuff like that. But I actually think it's a better song, or just a better thing overall than a lot of them, just as a musically, thematically. It just sort of crosses a lot of ticks a lot of boxes for me, as an
Yeah,
artistic
it's like
thing.
the tower and the river. Mary's in with those guys.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
totally.
Yeah.
It's like
Um,
it's in with Mama's Little Boy and Faceless May somehow. Oh wait, sorry.
Yeah, huh. So
Cheater.
Mary, I would say for a newbie, yeah, it would depend on the newbie. I'd say I would introduce a wider variety of people who were kind of uninitiated to No Means No, I probably introduced them to Mary before Some Bodies. But yeah, like you guys are saying, it would depend on the mood. It would depend on what party you were at. It would depend on what
Yeah,
drug,
yeah.
what drugs
What
you're
drugs?
drugs
How
you're
late in the
taking.
party it was? Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
on. Like, if you're feeling hallucinogenic, I'd say that's more Mary, as long as you're not in kind of a dark space to begin with.
Right.
And Some Bodies is
God.
probably just booze.
Booze. Have some beer.
Yeah.
Here's a beer. I want your
There's-
body.
Yeah.
God.
Maybe E.
Maybe not.
You know, one quick interjection on that just occurred to me. That's one of my litmus tests on newbie things is something I might start bringing in to future analysis of that is I have, this is from experience, gotten more inwardly bummed when people don't connect with Mary than I would be inwardly bummed if someone didn't connect with Somebody's. Like if someone bounced off Somebody's, I'd be like, all right. But if they didn't connect with Mary, I'd be like, oh, fuck.
I see. That's why you can't play. That. There's.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
It's-
like, it's hard,
yeah.
right? Like,
Don't do
it is
that to
hard. Like,
yourself.
so I only played it for people I really
Don't
cared
do that
about,
to
which made it
yourself.
even worse. So anyway, sorry.
Right.
Matthew.
No, don't.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got to say.
Fuck. Now we got to vote. And no, so listen to you
Oh,
listeners.
God.
We were going to pull a fast one. We weren't going to vote on this because we thought Somebody's didn't get a fair shake in round one. I thought
But
they
it
did. And I
it
thought
has actually got more of a fair shake than we
it's
thought.
gotten a double fair shake. It's
Yeah.
got an extra super duper fair shake.
Yeah.
So
Damn
it's
right.
got to be voted, unfortunately, and I'm first. Listen, this is not easy for me because they're both just pinnacle No Means No. And
Yep.
one is pinnacle Andy, one is pinnacle Rob. They're both pinnacle No Means No. They rest on different sides of the important scale of what this band can do.
Easily
both-
both top 5.
Easily
Percent.
both. I don't know about
Top
that for me, but
5%.
They're both top 5%. They're
Yeah.
both
5%,
like
yeah.
they're both like flawless. They both do
Yeah.
everything they're going to do perfectly. So I can only vote for my subjective standpoint, and what's been more important to me, clearly that's Mary. Mary is something
Yep.
that for me has, from the moment I heard that song, and I remember the first time I heard it, absolutely remember the experience of it. And most of the times after there, when I was a young man, there is something about Rob and this element of him doesn't speak to everyone. I feel fortunate in that it does speak to me fucking directly. It goes
Yeah.
right past everything, and I love it. Sorry for
Yep.
those that don't. I don't know why I feel the need to apologize, but I just
He's
adore
a
the
Because
li-
they-
song.
because they
he's,
can't
he's a lightning
experience it.
rod. He's channeling something.
He is.
Yep,
And
no
so
doubt.
so for me it's Mary. I just love it. But Somebody's is fucking brilliant. So Michelle, what's your
Okay,
vote?
look, I these two are very, very hard to pick one, but I am only because I think I know where this is going. I am gonna stay by my true love, Somebody's, because I
Good.
fucking love that song. I
Excellent.
gotta give it a vote. But
Good.
yeah, Mary's the shit. Come on,
I don't know that we
come
know where this
on.
is going. Let's see what
I don't
Matthew
like
says.
doing this.
Me
I
neither.
oppose this,
You're the tiebreaker, sir.
but I am voting for Somebody's.
See, when we thought that Somebody's maybe hadn't gotten a shot, but then turned out that it did sneak back in somehow. I can't remember. Anyway, we were talking about just kicking both ahead after all of this process.
We should.
But
We should still do that.
I got to vote for Mary.
Oh, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew
That
you
hurts.
boys
I
would
mean,
do that.
I'm glad because I need Mary to be
Yeah.
in the next round,
Yeah.
but I don't like to see Somebody's go. But then again, I
No.
guess we kicked it out before somehow.
Yeah, I don't get that, man.
But
Guys.
yeah, man, that's a hard one. But listen, the most of them are going to be hard. This next one's going to be fucking hard. I'm not looking forward to that one either.
No.
All right, fuck Mary. Well, you get to pray another day. Somebody's gets to fuck off in the corner and find somebody to find a hole to
yeah,
stick it in.
well, it can find my hole because that's the one I
think it
voted
did.
for.
I think it did.
shouldn't have
here's
said
one.
that.
Here's one to the holes.
Find my
Oh,
hole.
that was rough.
Oh, God.
All right. I'd be interested to know, you listeners out there, where you guys come down on this one, because I think depending on where you fall in what you like about this band, and this is interesting too, because this is not one of the pre-post Andy era things, right? Like often the line comes down to that for some people.
Yeah, but no.
This is
yeah,
all Andy
yeah,
era,
I
but
know-
this
I
is
know-
pretty
yep, yep.
clearly a Rob Andy demarcation, and this is why it's so hard for me, because I think this is so fucking great on Andy's
Mhm.
part. This song is fucking fantastic.
Mhm.
Anyway, it is what it is. I stick by it.
I think Matthew lost his
No, he's,
The cap. Yeah.
You got
yeah.
it?
So, all right. So we have a listener submission. We are going to hear from Charissa from Amsterdam, and this is wonderful because I actually got to meet up with Charissa and Corey in Amsterdam. I went to Amsterdam recently, which was fucking phenomenal. Rainy, gets light at 8:30 in the morning and dark at 4:30 in the afternoon. So you get very little daylight, but and rainy and cold, but fucking beautiful. And seeing Charissa and Corey at a bar was phenomenal. Both of you, I cannot thank you enough. What a thrill! And just
Yeah, that's
always to
super
sit
cool you did
and
that.
talk to. I mean, Charissa came in like 2 hours on a train to hang out with us.
What?
It was crazy.
Oh,
It was crazy,
Oh,
and her
that's
submission
cool.
is phenomenal too. I loved meeting both of you. It was
2
amazing,
hours,
and I
wow.
hope I get to see you again, both of you again sometime. Corey's an expat; he's from the U.S., so he's from the other hemisphere, much like our buddy Andy Kerr. I did get to see Andy, which was wonderful. Me and my family hung out with him a little bit the day after I hung out with Carissa and Corey, and that was magnificent, as you can imagine. My son still won't stop smiling. Haven't gotten to sit and talk to
Really?
his musical hero, Andy Kerr. So that was beautiful. So let's go ahead and sit back, listen to a little Charissa. Matthew and Strangey, you're probably going to want to pump up your headphones a little bit because, as you know, whenever we play these, they're a little bit quiet on the recording here, and I'll pump it up in post. So let's hear it, see how this sounds.
Cool.
Hey there, no means know-it-alls. This is Charissa from a teeny tiny country down under the sea. You know, hard work and honesty. Well, basically, honesty is a very polite way of them saying that we're rude as fuck. I think that's probably why No Means No has such a large fan base in the
Can
Netherlands.
confirm.
Because they don't beat around the bush either, now do they? How I came to love and adore No Means No. We have to go back to fall 1994. I just moved to Groningen, where I started my studies in history. And I already had some friends living there and who were working at Vera's. And one of them told me, you know, there's this band going to play next week, and they're called No Means No, and you've got to go there. They're fantastic. They're really great. And I was thinking, that, I don't know these guys. No Means No, never heard of them. But, you know, if he says so, I might well check them out because, well, he was the guy who also introduced me to the Pixies, which I still love and adore. So I thought, okay, I'd better go. So I went. And it was the most amazing experience of my life. It really was a high point in my life. Still is. It was the 2nd of November, 1994. So I was there, not knowing what to expect. And I was standing there front row, because I like to stand front row, just glued to the stage, you know. I've got to see what's going on. I've got to feel the spit and sweat and just see the magic happening.
I love it.
And then these old guys came up. I mean, I was 18. I think Rob was about 40 around that time. So for me, they were pretty old. And I thought, okay, what is this? What is going to happen here? And they started playing. And I was like, oh my God, these old guys rock. This is unbelievable. And it was just this big grin on my face was just starting to grow and grow and grow. And then at one point, they were with the three of them. I had no clue who they were. I mean, I didn't know their names. I didn't know their songs. I didn't know anything. And then the guitarist, you know, with the glasses and the curly hair, he left the stage. And on came another person who set up behind another set of drums. So there they were, 2 drummers and 1 bass player. And then they started Red Devil. I didn't know, of course, that was Red Devil. I found out afterwards. And I was just hypnotized. I was mesmerized. I was beaten on the head with a baseball bat. I mean, this was the most amazing thing I had ever heard or seen. Red Devil just blew me right out my socks. It was amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I was dumbfounded and I was like, why didn't I know these guys? This is fucking amazing. I need to have all their albums. This is just insane. So right after the show, I went to the back of the concert hall, and they were selling CDs. I couldn't buy LPs because I didn't have a record player in my teeny tiny student room. And so I looked at the CDs that were on sale, and they had many CDs of Mama. I think they were promoting the reissue or something, because I remember Rob was wearing a Mama t-shirt, and they had Mama posters up there. But, Mama had Red Devil, and that was the song that had stood out during this concert, so I just had to have this record. I had no clue about the other records. I didn't know anything about No Means No. So I bought Mama, all excited, went home, and the next day after class, I was going to listen to Mama. Put it in a CD player, all psyched up, waiting for the magic to happen, and Mama started playing, and I was like, wait, what? What? This wasn't what I was just listening to yesterday.
No.
Where's all the excitement? Where's the oomph? Where is the sweat and the edginess? And okay, basically I was quite disappointed. Mama is a great record, and I still listen to it quite often actually. But then I was disappointed. And I just couldn't believe my ears. So what was this? So I went to a record store and said, hey, I want a No Means No CD. What should I buy? And then I found Live and Cuddly. And I thought, okay, this is a live album, so this is probably more of the spirit that I just witnessed during the concert. And I bought it, and yes, blew me off my socks. This was exactly what I had experienced, and more, because there was this other guy singing. Who was this other guy? I had no idea. It took me several years to find out that previously there was this Mr. Andy Kerr playing with No Means No. And really, if they do find this time machine, Jordan, I'm coming with you. I've got to see No Means No with Andy. I mean, that is one of my biggest regrets, that I've never seen them play with Andy. But Tom's great, of course. Love Tom. Love you.
Yeah.
So, well, that's how my No Means No love started. And I went on to see many No Means No shows thereafter in Vera, in Groningen. And I remember at this one concert, I don't know which one it was, Rob was talking about this on the episode in which you interviewed Rob. That was great. He was saying, he always wanted to crank up his bass. The sound had to be loud. Well, I can tell you, it was loud. It was too loud. Actually, I was, again, standing right in front of the stage, first row, and just thinking, oh my God, this sounds awful. What the fuck are they doing? They sound totally out of key. I can't bear to listen to this. This is just horrible. That was a huge disappointment because I was looking forward to going to see No Means No, to hear No Means No, to have fun again. And so I just put my fingers in my ears to shut it out. And then, poof, they sounded right again. The sound had gone into overdrive, I think. I don't know what they were thinking, but it was too loud, and with my fingers in my ears, it was okay. But, standing front row with your fingers in your ears is kind of weird. So Tom looked at me pretty incredulously. So, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you standing there with your fingers in your ears? And I felt, you know what? He's right. I can't do this. This is just stupid. So I went back, plowed through the mosh pit, and went to the toilets. Yanked out some toilet paper and stuffed it in my ears. And went back front row and had a time of my life, of course. Because with the toilet paper stuck in my ears, they did sound great. I know, it still looks weird jumping around with toilet paper in your ears. But, well, that's what I had to do. Because listening to singing them out of key, that was just unbearable. And I don't know if it was at this particular concert or at a later concert. John was just being John on his drums, just giving a hell of a show, and all of a sudden, there came this drumstick flying through the sky. He was insane. And I caught it in midair. And you know what? I still have that drumstick.
Oh, nice.
It's sitting on a special place in my bedroom on a shelf. And I even wrote down on the drumstick, on which date I got it. It was June 6th, 1997. But you know what? What's missing on that drumstick is John's autograph. So, John, if you're listening, if you come back to the Netherlands, preferably to Vera, I will bring this drumstick and I need you to sign it. Please, please, pretty
Aw.
please. Well,
He
there you
will.
have it.
He will.
That is my story about how I came to love and adore No Means No. I haven't gone into the why I love No Means No so much, but maybe that's something for another contribution. Enjoy the rest of the show. Back to you, No Means Know-It-Alls.
Oh God, no means know it all. Oh no,
Fucking brilliant, man. Clarissa, that was so good.
she's
Jesus.
like my new best bud.
She's so fucking
Jeez.
cool. It was so fun to hang out with
Yeah.
her and Corey. Oh my god. That's what it was like the whole time. It was just
Oh,
fantastic.
just meeting friends you feel
And
like
yes,
you've known
please,
your whole life.
please submit another entry about why you love the band so much. I want to hear more. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, we love all listener submissions. I'm not going to lie. I especially love it when you record your own because I love to hear it in your own words. But we'll take
Yep.
written submissions as well. And you guys have been hearing our call. We have a couple more that are in the pike ready to come down, which is great. But
Oh,
Matthew,
cool.
why don't you, since it's been months now since we've said anything into the airwaves, why don't you make the pitch for us?
Oh, Matthew.
Okay, yeah. You can give us an email at no means nothing podcast at gmail.com. Send in your submissions. We sort of have a little bit of an icebreaker. Three, what is your No Means No origin story? What do they mean to you? And if you have a particular anecdote, some meaningful story, doesn't have to be meaningful. It just has to be something memorable to you about the experience that you had listening to No Means No or at a No Means No show. That's a good place to start. But you mean, argue with us. Tell us what you thought of previous shows or the choices we made, or supplemental information or anything. You can write it in. Please let us know if you can which one of us, if you have a preference, would you'd prefer to read it. As Jordan was saying, it is nice to have a recording, so it's your own voice, and we're not putting inflections where there should be no inflections. And yeah, just send it on in. We'll read it out. We'll play it. It will get played eventually. So
Yep.
Even though some of them came in a long time ago at this point, they are still in the hopper, and please do not get discouraged. It just takes some time to wind around, especially when we take big, giant
Yeah.
2 months breaks for artistic pursuits and
And
family
we're over
vacations
50.
and disgusting diseases.
That's right.
Yeah.
And also, if you feel like writing us and not having something put on the podcast, but just to talk to us, we love that
Yeah.
too. We love
Yeah.
to hear from you.
Mhm.
We the buddy Corey that we that I got to meet up with in Amsterdam. He discovered the podcast kind of late, and he basically kind of was like live tweeting at us through emails as he was listening to each episode. He'd send us a little like note about every episode. It was fucking great. It's like,
Oh.
oh, Corey just listened to another one. Here's his reactions to this. It was
Oh,
fucking
that's
great.
funny.
Fucking loved it. So
There's
I
a
love
couple
it.
of Corys. I think I'm getting them
Yeah.
mixed up.
You might
There's a
be.
couple
Yeah,
of
there's
Corys.
Yeah.
Corey from Bad Wires. He is from Louisville.
Right. Yeah,
Kentucky,
no, this is
and,
Corey
He sent
the
me
expat.
a No Means No poster. I
Oh.
promised him. I have renovated the studio in the garage since the last time we recorded. It's quite different in here now. And I did say to Corey that I would be hanging. It is still in his package so that I wouldn't get dust all over it, but I'll hang it up on one of these rotating
What is it a
partitions
poster
that
of?
I built. So
What is it a poster of?
his band with No Means No.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
a
Oh,
gig,
cool.
gig poster of Bad
Fuck
Wars.
yeah,
I'm assuming it's Bad Wars. I haven't actually looked at it. So, yeah, there's that.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
You're gonna get it laminated, Matthew? Do you think you?
I will
laminate it
see
or
what
just-
form it's in.
Yeah.
I may
Yeah.
frame it depending on
Yeah.
what
Yep.
happens.
Oh, frame it too. Sure.
And I
Mhm.
met up with Adrian, another fan of the podcast. He
Excellent.
was in town last week,
Oh,
and
yeah, he's cool.
he was
He's super cool.
kind enough to offer me an extra ticket with his group of people who came into town to see Thumpasaurus. So we went to see Thumpasaurus a week ago today,
Oh.
and that is a whole hell of a lot of a fun band. So go see Thumpasaurus if you can see Thumpasaurus. They're another band with a great bass player. Great, all of the players, but a really great funk bass player, and the drummer is a lot of fun too. And he sets up sideways on the stage, which I hope becomes more of a trend.
Oh.
Should be a
with
trend.
bands. Yeah.
Nice.
Huh.
So
All
anyway,
right.
thanks
How
again
about
to
that?
Adrian and his buddies for
Adrian made the
yeah.
best book video, didn't he? Wasn't that the guy who put it on the fucking passenger side and put his
Oh yeah, that was
seatbelt on
awesome.
it?
That was awesome.
That was the best part. He
All
put
right,
a
fuck.
seatbelt on it.
I don't want. I can't put this off anymore. We got to do this round 2. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
All right. All right.
Are
So
you gonna
round
make it?
2 here. I'm gonna make it. I don't have to go
All right.
first this time, luckily. So again, 2 absolute fucking bangers. So
Banger.
first up on the killing floor is "Kill Everyone Now" off of "Why Do They Call Me Mr. Happy," 1993. Now, "Kill Everyone Now," I had a really rough pull last time. I remember this was super fucking hard for me. I think it was hard for all of us. So it won against the Graveyard Shift in episode 29, which Graveyard Shifts come back in People's Choice, so it's not down forever. But Michelle and me voted for "Kill Everyone Now," and Matthew voted for Graveyard Shift.
Okay.
And "Kill Everyone Now" is going up against "Obsessed" off of Sex Mad, 1986. Now, "Obsessed" won against "Try Not to Stutter" in episode 16. Now, Michelle and I voted for "Obsessed," and Matthew
I know, but I love
voted for "Try Not to
Holy
Stutter."
Shit, that's such a good song.
So, yeah, again, not an easy pull
No.
for that song. So, "Kill Everyone Now" versus "Obsessed," and I realized I didn't do this before, so hopefully I can find a place to put it in. But let's hear a little bit.
Oh yeah, you forgot that.
Yeah,
last
I always
one.
make it hard for myself. Let's
Oh,
hear a
I
little
forgot.
bit of this.
Okay.
Of these bangers mashed up. Bangers and mash.
Would you like fries with that now? How about a Sunday?
Very difficult to find 3 more different songs. "Kill Everyone Now" is pretty much like I think it's pretty much distilled Rob. I mean, John is
Distilled Rob, nice.
I think the drums that John plays are always really, really great, but they're not super distinct. They're kind of a little bit backgrounded. The guitar, which Rob is playing, is also is not distinguished. So it's really, this is a very, very, very Rob song. Maybe one of the most Rob songs. And then "Obsessed," on the other hand, it sounds like it was composed on piano to me.
It was.
I'm not totally positive that
Andy told us it was.
I forget the things that Andy said, sadly, but back when I was drinking a lot more on the podcast back then. I'm not totally certain that that's even bass in the album version. There's a heavily effects on there, or
True.
the synth is following the bass really closely.
Oh, maybe
I see what you
so.
mean. Yeah, I see what you
Yep.
mean. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you can go and see live footage,
Sure.
and he's certainly playing it and everything like that. But it certainly doesn't always sound like it's only
Doesn't
bass,
have that same sound.
or
yeah.
sometimes it doesn't sound like bass at all. And it is
Agreed.
certainly full of effects that you do not hear on Rob's bass in any other context that I can think of. Songwriting, yeah. I mean, Kill Everyone Now is not a complex song.
Mm-mm.
It's not lyrically complex. It's not conceptually complex at all, and that's the whole point. I think it is maybe sort of just the fundamental urge. I'm lonely, so nothing else should exist. Who knows? To me, Obsessed is like a better song musically because I think they were showing off. Just because it's more creative and the structure is more varied. Kill Everyone Now for me is very much of its time, which doesn't happen for a lot of No Means No for me. It sounds, I won't say dated,
Oh, that's interesting.
but it sounds like it's from the 90s. And it is, but also at the same time, it's one of the few No Means No songs that I could see them playing like an amphitheater, like a huge music festival with a massive crowd.
Start out with
bouncing and like that that driving. It sounds like a festival song, like a huge the song that they would play had they become a band with like a huge following, not the same kind of following that they have, but you know what I mean, like something like what's maybe Soundgarden or Nirvana became a little bit more. It's one of the few windows where I could sort of, I wonder what that in that alternate universe, what that would have been like. And I think that maybe he was being influenced by bands of that time, and that's totally cool. I think certainly, sort of given away that he was interested in what Fake No More was doing on that album. So, who knows? I don't mean that as a dig in any way, but as I say, it sounds of its time.
Yeah.
It is maybe a little less timeless. Like it would be difficult to identify the period that a lot of other No Means No came from. Like you wouldn't say that is a song from the 80s. That is a song from the 2000s. I don't think, because it doesn't sound like anything else from the time. But maybe Kill Everyone Now sounds a little more like things that were popular at the time.
Yeah.
In 1993.
Yeah.
The performance, it is, again, I kind of miss, it's a different thing. And I had a difficult time with this album when it came out because it was so different from anything that had come out before. And I still wonder what a guitar player, an autonomous guitar player, would have sounded like on songs like this. This is a big Rob epic, but if it had Andy's or Tom's guitar textures, it might have been a little more, had a little more curiosity to it. It's pretty leaden in a lot of ways because that's what he intended to do. It's very, very heavy song, heavy,
nice.
repetitive.
Yeah. Like that.
And it is a little disjointed in some ways, but it's supposed to be like that. I think the whole purpose of Kill Everyone Now is to throw you off kilter and wonder what's going to come next. Right. Obsessed in some ways, I mean, the structure is really start and stop, and you don't know what's going to come next and what, it's like, what's it called? Not the Tilt-A-Whirl, but the Scrambler. The Scrambler, I think it was.
Yeah.
So it's like spinning a spinning X with spinning X's on the ends. It's like a carnival ride.
Right.
I think Obsessed is a little bit like the Scrambler to me.
The Scrambler, right?
Yeah. So Kill Everyone Now, like I say, it's not a song that I would listen to all the time. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy that lurching, huge feeling, that stadium sounding quality that it has. Sometimes Obsessed is, because it's a little more concise, and it's sort of a similar pace all the way through it, even though it does start and stop a little bit, is something I might listen to a little more frequently, just simply because it's a little bit easier to. It's an amuse bouche. It's not
Yeah,
Right.
Moose Bush.
a giant I don't know, mutton stew or something that really sticks to your ribs. Obsessed does not stick to your ribs. It is light and airy, and Kill Everyone Now is definitely it is the dark. It is a stout, and Obsessed
Yeah.
is fruity lager. I don't know.
Pretty longer.
So highlights. Kill Everyone Now. Rob actually sort of approximates the Jello by Afro Bleat. I just think that's really funny.
He fed all the China.
Yeah. Highlight for Obsessed is my question of like, what's going on with that bass or synth bass or effect on the bass? What's going on? I'm really interested to know what that actually is, because
What's going on is a
possible.
pooper.
It's possible. I think it's entirely possible that there's no bass on there at all, and it's just John playing it on a keyboard.
Maybe, but I know that.
And they just
I mean,
sort of
Rob
assembled
can
it in.
play
No.
Of course he can. Yeah, I found
I
people
don't know.
covering it on the internet and stuff like that.
Well, there's that really great recording, like the super studio quality one, where they've got a camera over John and they play the Ghosts of Time cover.
Oh yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
Obsessed
yeah,
in
yeah.
that set too, and that's Tom era, so they were playing it all the way through there.
Yep.
Yeah. Lowlights. Some of the more plotting parts of Kill Everyone Now, like when served. To me, it could be tightened up just a smidge. I don't know.
Oh no way! Really?
No, okay, disagreements.
No, that's okay. It's good.
Yeah.
And
for us to
then-
disagree, but
No,
boy, I'm
no,
shaking.
no.
Just so you know, audience, Michelle and I are like,
And
what?
pull the hammer, drop the hammer, pull the trigger is again, maybe it could have been had its laces tightened just a smidgen, little less repetition of that sort of stuff. And then
Turn them off.
a low light for Obsessed for me is that it's not longer, and that is. I wish they'd fleshed it out a little bit more because it's so cool. But maybe
Yeah.
that's the purpose as well. That it seems more like an interlude than a song in its own right.
Right.
It
It's
seems
almost like a happy
bridge.
bridge, right? It's
Yeah,
almost like
yeah.
the happy bridge or something like that. Like, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess that is what I got to say about those two.
Wow,
songs.
Matthew, you killed it, man.
Yeah, that's great.
That was good.
Matthew, Michelle, what about you? The other M,
Okay.
M squared.
Yep, Eminem. All right, pull down your pants and bend over because Kill Everyone Now is here to kick you in the ass. Your bare ass. The stomp in this is Herculean, and Rob kills it with his brooding message. He sounds like a lowly cello for half of the song.
Oh,
In
nice.
the other, yep. In the other half, he sounds like a demented lightning strike. This song is so towering and fierce and has stages of grief mixed in with calm that's real and felt by everyone. About halfway into it, Rob goes full on mental with this epic buildup that matches the shrieks he's delivering. Usually at this point, I'm full on paying attention to Rob, but goddamn, if you just step back and take the time to hone in on what John's doing,
It's incredible.
yeah, you will enjoy some massive, artful, outrageous fills that would sound half-assed if anyone else tried to do it. Okay, Matthew, the treat is when Rob gets to the served part. I fucking can't get
love that.
enough of that. I can't
Serve,
get enough.
serve.
It's so obnoxious. It's just, what did his face look like when he was doing that? It's so
It was great live.
great.
This song kicked ass live. I totally
I-
remember. And he would go off with like a weird, he would like riff with like shit. I remember when I saw him, he was talking about like, I was talking to Jesus in my dream last night, and Jesus was telling me, like he had totally different lyrics for the middle of this part. That was
No
just
shit.
wild. Oh yeah,
I don't know if I ever
That was
heard him
wild.
play this because I would have went nuts. Oh god, yes, the served part, I love it. And John's going insane on the bass drum and the floor toms. Right?
Yeah.
Matthew. It's the shit. It's full on googly eyed time, and you've never heard anything like it, and you know it. There's some super cool effects in here too, and I'm not sure if the guitar is delivering them, but I do think so. Yeah.
Right? Are you talking about that buzzsaw part? I fucking love that shit.
No, it's. I think I hear like there is guitar in this.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
100%.
but it's playing chords along with the
Yeah.
with the chorus parts.
Yeah,
and
there's no
stuff.
soloing
Yeah,
going
That's what I mean. Yeah, it
No.
doesn't really distinguish itself all that much.
right.
No, it's making a
right,
wall
right.
of noise in the background. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I'm guessing the very end with the Dunkin' Donuts line is something so funny and ridiculous and so fitting. And I'm guessing a good number of us have said this plenty.
Fuck yeah.
This gigantic signature piece is one of their epic masterpieces, and Rob is full on.
Hallelujah.
Oh, wait, do I have some more? I gotta. Oh, yeah.
You're
I
talking
think
about
I have some
obsessed.
more. Oh, yeah, Obsessed, yes. Hot damn, this has always been one of my favorites. I think I may have mentioned this before that I always wanted to hear an orchestra play this with John on the drums. Wouldn't
hell
that
yeah.
be sick? I know.
Oh,
Wouldn't it be
shit.
sick? The bass bows would be sawing right through the instrument.
And I want to see
And the
Bugs
un-
Bunny cartoons in the
Oh.
background. Like, fuck
No,
up
there'd
Bugs
be
Bunny
yeah.
cartoons.
You can think of like oboe and clarinet parts for sure.
Totally.
Yeah. I would love to do this. I wish I could just sit down and do it. There's a computer program at school you could
Oh.
throw stuff into, and it'll. Yeah. Unlike its broody and menacing contender, Obsessed is a demented pinball machine using eyeballs as pinballs. This piece is so brilliant with its use of syncopation, accents, and crazy use of tritones and riffs that noodle all over the place. And if I recall correctly, this was the piece that John wrote on keyboards that was next to impossible for guitar and bass to play along with. And it's wonderfully
yet they did.
outrageous to me, and I can't get enough of it. It also wouldn't. I also wouldn't even know how to characterize this or how to put it in its own box because it's just so unique. Kill Everyone Now is on the super heavy, straightforward side, and Obsessed is completely the opposite. I love that it's an instrumental, and I can't imagine how anyone can sing along to it unless they were reading another reel-to-reel manual. It's seriously one of my favorite pieces by them, and I remember hearing it for the first time and being blown away by it. There,
Nice.
my words.
So,
My
wow, this is
words.
interesting. I think we all have
All right.
varying perspectives on this. So, yeah, Kill Everyone Now is another. Yeah, it's a Rob, a Rob joint. It's deep into it, but this is Rob full on channeling Slade, right? Like this is from the perspective of that really the isolated, disaffected part of oneself. And I think I'm not saying this is Rob. Clearly, this is a caricature in its own way. But while I guess, Matthew, I hear what you're saying in terms of it being of its time musically, I think this song is one of the more prescient and important of their songs now. I think this speaks to the disaffected, disillusioned nature, especially of masculinity and of
Gluttony.
the more people, not gluttony, but the more people there, and this is very clear in the song, and this is why I think why there's a section in the middle about how we're just as a species just fucking exponentially growing, and we're going into space. People will be breastfeeding in space soon because we're just no fucking room on Earth. Chairman Mao fed all of China 1 billion. That part, the 1 billion is so just
the
like
McDonald's shit.
it really just makes you realize how many fucking people there are. He's really looking at you and going like, there's this many people, fuckers. But the more people there are, the more isolated and disaffected we become, right? There's so many of us that for each individual to have a connection with others almost becomes, it's the paradox of the modern age, it becomes more impossible. And I think that's become even more true in the modern age as you get these people who become disaffected and only connected to this virtual self, this virtual world who they've put forward, the pathos, the ridiculousness and the pathos that are held equally in these choruses of here there is no one, here where I lie, here it is empty, here where I am. It's like at once so pitiful and like almost disgusting, and yet at the other hand it's so just like, fuck, that is so sad. I hold both things in there. It's so authentically dark and lonely, and yet pathetic at the same time. That
Mhm.
it's beautiful in that way. And what I think most captures it now is this being so or what's so relevant now is it's so disaffected that the choice to grab the gun and to change the channel has equal weight. The choice of
Right,
violence and the choice of entertainment has equal weight. If there's anything that more gets to the heart of like our of the the culture of school shootings, it's like
right.
this nature of just how fucking isolated and disaffected someone must feel to so easily turn between entertainment and changing the channel and grabbing the handle, opening the door, and grabbing the gun. And that's it's the humor at the end, which is such a dark humor of cock the hammer, cock the hammer. Oh, look, a Dunkin' Donuts, right? Like I want to fucking kill, but oh, check it out.
Yeah.
It's like it's so funny, but so like it's
Pathetic.
it's pathetic,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
brilliant
yeah,
in its
yeah.
encapsulation of the disaffection. But there's
Mhm.
something very authentically sad too, like that. It's like The Phone Call to me. That's another song about an obsessed
Obsessed.
criminal almost, but someone who's really just looking
Mhm.
for connection. Someone who's the reason they're so disconnected is because they feel an absolute, utter lack of connection. And what becomes of you when you feel that utter lack of connection? Kill everyone.
Right.
Fuck
Yeah.
everyone. Nothing.
Mhm.
Nobody means anything because I have nothing. And the reason you want to kill everyone is because what we need is that connection. And so when you have none of it, when you're at the very bottom and you have none of it, then all of it has to go. All of it has to be destroyed. And I feel like there's so much of our culture that that's where we're at. That's the moment. This really, to me, speaks to a dark, dark element of what we see now. And I think Rob, way more than in the 90s, is speaking to something that's become more true in
Mhm.
our
Rob's.
world. So yes,
God, he's so
musically, I think
fucking
maybe it's
wild.
more of that time, but
Well,
thematically, I think it's way more of our time. I think it speaks right to this fucking moment. This is an incel anthem in its own way. And and not in a good way. I don't mean that. I just mean like in
right,
terms of
right,
how
right. Of
it gets
course.
to
Yeah.
it gets to the heart, but not in a way that's just like, look at those fuckers, but really sits you in that feeling of, fuck, here it is empty. Here where I lie. Here there is no one. Here where I am. And the plaintiveness with which she's saying that, and the bass line underneath, which is, yes, very simple, but it's like, it can't be complex because what you're supposed to hear is Rob's
Yep.
plaintiveness, is Rob's pathos. And also, you're supposed to hate the person that's saying it, while at the same time, you feel pity for them. It's fucking crazy. And that middle section is just crazy.
Insane.
It's just, like 1 million and all the fucking, and of course, Michelle, you came to this at one point, but I think I had mentioned it before. He's got that line from The Graduate. There is no
Yeah, the
future without
plastic.
plastic. Chairman Mao was a great cook. All of that is so, yes, that is channeling his inner Jello in a way, for sure, that middle section. But it's just the vitriol and kind of humor, but just darkness of that. This is Rob, other than Dance of the Headless Bourgeoisie, this is Rob at his darkest, I think. This is where Rob, this is his most, like, putting nihilism on display, not in a personal way, but like, this is what the nihilism that human beings can be,
Right.
but shows you the nihilism of and why it exists, right? Like, because of total disconnection and disaffection.
It's almost like he's wearing a goalie mask with "dumb" written on the forehead.
Or it's almost like he's a fucking priest with a biker's hat on, right? Like, to me, this is a Mr. Wrong song, 100%. This is fucking the dark Mr. Wrong authority figure. Like, I'm up here, man. This is it. This is the darkest part of me. I'm gonna fucking put it out there. And I think the plotting nature of it, the wall of sound, the way it goes from grinding to kind of actually sort of not a lullaby, but a lulling, that like the parts where it's here it is lonely and it just lulls me into it, and then it's just cock the hammer. It soothes you, and then it's just kind of like, fuck that, fuck you, fuck all of this, fuck that. But you know what? Change the channel. I'm sick of this shit. It's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. And I think it's one of those things where everything about it is carefully placed just like it needs to. Could it have been more interesting if there would have been a different guitarist? Of course it would have. All of this would have. But I feel the opposite of you. Mr. Happy hit me at a time in my life for this band because I didn't know about the Andy era, and this it didn't mean as much to me, the two eras at that point. It was just a continuum of the band. And this album fucking rocked my world. Like this absolutely became my favorite when I heard it. And every song on this was like, oh fuck, this is the
wow.
absolute white album for me, right? In terms of
How
that.
about
And in
that?
terms of albums, it still stands as my favorite of their albums, just as a whole piece.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the time in my life it hit and what was going on for me and all of that. And this song was very much like that. It's like, oh fuck, what an anthem of darkness. So I think this song is, Mary was a Rob epic. This is a different Rob epic. This is an epic of Slade, not of the ephemeral, right? Like these are on opposite poles of what Rob did. And now The River deals with almost in a way similar themes to this song, but in an artful way that talks about the beauty of that need to connect and our inability to in a way that's more ephemeral and beautiful. And this is just a raw sort of like fuck. And I
The
love
river,
it for
that which rends, cleaves, or separates.
Yeah, separates, exactly. But I love this song for that. This to me shows like how he can hold pity and disgust in one hand and the other and make me feel both equally at the same time for something that should be that I should revile. And Obsessed is fucking magic. This song is magic. I mean, Jesus Christ. I remember listening. I came to this album after Wrong and after 0+2 and after Live and Cuddly. Then I got Sex Mad. I remember listening to this just being like, of fucking course they can play this guy. Are you kidding me? Like, of course there's this. Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? It is so fun. It is such a condensed... my story about the song, I think I told it before, so this is a repeat, but I had a theater teacher who used to make us, when we would do scenes, like we'd have to do scenes, of course, in theater class, she'd make you do these things called movement pieces, where you'd pick a piece of music and just do a wordless distillation of what the scene was about between the characters. And I did this song for a scene from Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And it was like a boxing match where we were like fucking each other up, beating the shit out of each other to Obsessed. And it's still one of my favorite memories. And it was, the song was chef's kiss perfect for this, for that play for sure. Cause it's the weird, chaotic violence of it. This song is incredible. And I think Andy had said, and I think it's even in the book, that they'd considered doing lyrics for it. And then of course just realized, no, we can't. Like, I think they even maybe had some and it was like, we can't do the lyrics to this. Then I very remember clearly Andy saying that
who's gonna sing them? They're all
that
fucking...
John came to this with on piano with a recording and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? We can't play this. This is bullshit.
Who
like,
could
fuck
even
you.
sing it if they wanted to?
We can't play this. And then they did. And it's beautiful. And I've always felt like you did, Matthew, like, it doesn't sound like a bass. I think it is, but I think the keyboard must be playing too. There must be a synth behind that doing something because it does not sound like a bass. It sounds, I think the bass is there and I can hear it sometimes, but it's so in line with whatever the bass is doing that it makes the bass other. So either it's not a bass or it transforms what the bass is doing into something. The two parts make a third in a way that's really interesting. And I mean, this just showcases their incredible creativity. It showcases John's absolute brilliance as a composer. Fucking shit. Jesus Christ. It is incredible. So we've had a couple brilliant Rob pieces. We've had a brilliant Andy piece and we have a brilliant John piece, right? Like this is, it's a great episode for showcasing the wide breadth of everything they can do in this fucking band. So, I mean, I can't talk about how well the lyrics fit the music in Obsessed because there isn't any, but I'll tell you what, it's perfect that there aren't any. So in that sense, the lyrics fit it perfectly and that there aren't lyrics. It doesn't need them. It is one of those kind of interstitials in a way, but it is its own thing as opposed to like Happy Bridge, which really sits between two things. This can sit on its own in a way that I don't ever think about like what came before and what came after with it, but in its own way, it's, I don't know. It's other. It's just other.
Well, as far as, that little category that we have in terms of how well the lyrics fit the music, well, the title certainly fits it perfectly.
It does. No,
Yeah.
It would be a different.
Yep.
Yeah.
It definitely it feels like an obsession. It definitely like encapsulates that inner feeling of nature of obsession.
It's not going to be called Tulips in the Grass.
No. Although that would have been funny, but no, it's for fucking sure. Highlights of Kill Everyone Now. I mean, opposite of you, Matthew, the serve part, much like Michelle, I fucking love that. That whole central section, I fucking love it. But also the highlight for me is the chorus.
You're a theater guy.
Yeah. That's right. And Rob's performance in the chorus. I really love how in this one he, like I've said before, he holds the pathos and the revulsion in equal measures and makes me feel both through his performance. Again, through his performance. It's magnificent.
Acting.
Yeah, I'm feeling. He feels it. He's like he's fucking doing it, right? Like he's he's fucking doing it. This guy doesn't, again, like I've said this so many times about this band and the lyric performance of anyone who sings in this band. They're not just singing. There's so many bands that are really good, but I listen to the singer and it's like you're singing in every song. But it doesn't feel different song to song. You have a good voice, but you're singing song to song. These guys aren't singing in these songs. They're doing the song. They're doing the song. They're performing in the way the song needs. They're not just singing the lyrics.
That's like their own instrument.
Well,
That's how I hear it.
You're right.
Yep.
And like in Kill Everyone Now, he's certainly he's playing a role.
Yeah, he's playing a role. Yeah. He's playing a role, and he does it very well. He communicates something very subtle. Yep. It's not as it is dark. It's nihilistic, but there's a subtlety to it. Rob is never content, I don't think, with being on one side. Rob is going to try to show you both sides. He's going to show you the inside and the outside. He's going to let you hate the person you're hearing, but he's also going to make you be inside them and understand or feel what they're feeling. And that's what's uncomfortable and beautiful about it.
Right.
So I guess that's it for round one. There's a lot to say,
Jesus.
but I think both these songs are fucking bangers. So Matt, round two.
Representative, yes. I mean, Kill Everyone Now is an anthem of theirs, I would say. It's one that people point
one of the
to.
Best shirts.
Yeah, indeed. It is scary and clever, and I think you're right that it's more significant today than it maybe was at the time. It is maybe it just became truer. You know, I don't think it wasn't like it was prophesying something, and he was certainly observing something that was going on already, but it's become more so. I think it's important in their oeuvre. And Obsessed, Representative, not so much. It is like of their playing. It absolutely is, and in terms of like the absolute muscularity of how they can work together. From a playing standpoint, it is super important. Like, Jesus, can you point to any song? Like, this is maybe one of the hardest ones to play. I mean, it's difficult to imagine people covering a lot of No Means No songs, but this one is like, what are they even fucking doing? In terms of newbies, I would probably introduce Obsessed to music nerds only. The technical aspects of it, I think, would probably appeal to more people like that. Your casual listener, maybe less so. And Kill Everyone Now, I think maybe it would turn people off. But I think it, as I was saying, there are people who really, really still just what they listen to in the 90s is what they still listen to. And I think that there is a lot of access for people who are into grunge. I mean, I hate to say it, but that whole movement, I think there's a lot of ways into No Means No through this song for people who like shit like that. Some of which I like, a lot of which I don't like, because I was already into No Means No when it came out.
Right.
You're already ahead of your time.
I just never really liked Alice in Chains.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Hey, that guy had a good voice.
Good voice, but
yeah, he did.
All right.
Is it my turn?
It's your turn.
I'm gonna go quick as usual. Are these songs representative of Kill Everyone Now? Hell yes. This is Rob at 110%, and it checks all the boxes for badassness with a slight bit of humor and passionate musicianship. Obsessed. Yes, this is too. I think this is representative of them because how, again, their musicianship, how they completely take a cool, complex piece and just match it with stellar musicianship and plenty of quirky bits to keep your mind interested. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
What about newbies?
Oh, newbies. I agree with Matthew. I would play Obsessed just because it is what it is, and you don't have to pay attention to lyrics or have that be a part of the song, but just because it's your eyeballs would be turning around when you're listening to it. It would be really entertaining.
I think if you play something yourself, especially.
Right.
Yeah,
if you play an instrument.
Yep, exactly. And Kill Everyone Now. Yeah, I again, like Matthew said, it might be like, wait a minute, what are you like? All right,
Exactly. Do I need to call somebody?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I would play it just to show how God. It's just the thunder in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kill Everyone Now. I think I wrote on the other one that like that's very much the same heavy degree as like Mary. Like they don't half-ass that sound at all.
Yeah,
and like when you read the book about how loud they were when they practiced, like I love that. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But God, this is just 11.
Yeah.
This is on 11,
Or
and
12.
it's great. So yeah, or 12 or 13. Yeah.
I'm going to start with the newbie thing. I agree with both of you. I would play Obsessed for people because I think it's fun and fucking bookies your ass off. It also doesn't overstay its welcome, right? Like, so if someone's not into it, it's not going to be going on for a long time. I would never in a million years play Kill Everyone Now for anyone. I love that song. I love it. But I'd never play that for someone. I just wouldn't. It's too, first of all, too easy to misinterpret, I think. It would give you the wrong impression of the band unless you already had some sense of them.
Right.
It's too long for someone to introduce them to, right? Like I wouldn't want to subject. I mean, I would,
or something.
Yeah, I would play it for someone well into the catalog,
or to see how loud your stereo can go.
It's a deep cut that should be listened to once you understand the band a little. Once they've entered into you, then it's brilliant. But it's not a newbie song. It's not your first taste. It's not the amuse bouche. Whereas Obsessed is like, fuck yeah, it's fun as hell. And to your point, if you play an instrument, you're listening to that and go like, fuck, give me a break. What the fuck is this? That's not real. This is fucking, that's fake. It's fake shit.
It's not real.
No one can play that. Bullshit. And then you tell them what year it was made. They're like, fuck you. You can go to hell. It's not made in 85. Fuck you. So anyway, yeah. 86, sorry. Anyway. Now, in terms of are they representative? Yes, they both are, I think, in different ways. But Kill Everyone Now, and again, in different ways. Now, I mean, it's interesting because, Matthew, I almost kind of agree with you. Obsessed maybe isn't, but it is in the sense of how complex and fucking engaging and interesting their, especially John's compositions can be. And I think that does come through in a lot of the music. So I think it is representative in that way, but it's almost the distillation and first, actually, I think this is the first appearance of John. I think this is where he first really let his flag fly. There's not a song on Mama where this happens. There's not a song previous to this. This is where John really went, fucking hold my beer. Come on. Like, this is it. Let me show you what we can really fucking do. I know you can do. And he pushed the band too, right? That's another thing. Like he pushed them way past their comfort zone. You could read, or Andy was telling us that they were both, him and Rob were just like, fuck you, we can't do this. This is bullshit. And yet he pushed them into it and they did it, right? They did it and they fucking killed it. So I think that's also very much of No Marine Snow's oeuvre. They were always pushing each other into areas. So in a sort of meta way, I think it is very
pushing each other on their areas.
Yeah, that's right. Pushing each other on there. Well, I want some bodies. So I, and then, yeah, Kill Everyone Now, both thematically in its own way. I think it's a pinnacle of that oeuvre of the darkness. People talk about No Means Snow being very dark. I think that's overblown in some ways. I do think they're dark, but I think there's so much else about them that's actually very optimistically human in a very interesting way. They're like a, I don't know, in that way of via negativa, that the way down is the way up. They like by how deep they bring you somewhere higher. Look, Mary is a perfect example for that, right? Like
very
that's
much so.
right. Like that's the pinnacle of that side of it. This song is the pinnacle of, but there's also this really, really bad part of being a human. And there's some of us that are really fucked. And I'm going to show you what that is. And I think that's the Slade part. And this is someone who's been deeply infected by the cancer of Slade and is deep in that. And I don't know, other than Dance of the Headless Bourgeoisie, I think this is a more successful song of that nature. I think this is their pinnacle of really being nihilistic because it also makes me be inside that person. I don't get to be comfortable on the outside. I have to be with them. And that's what makes it really uncomfortable for me. I'm in the passenger seat. I don't get to be outside the car. And it's
That's a
tough.
scary place.
It's scary, but it's important. That's art.
But then there's a Dunkin' Donuts.
But there's a Dunkin'
and you can
Donuts, so don't
stop
worry about
in
it.
and get a fucking coffee and a donut.
Exactly.
Oh, look, a
so-
Tim Hortons.
Yeah. So there's that. So I guess that's all I'd want to say. So now we got to vote, and Matthew, you get to cast our first vote of the evening. No, well, of this round.
Yeah. As it is saying, you know, I would probably listen to Obsessed more often. But I think I got to vote for Kill Everyone now because of what it is and
not expect that.
kind of what it represents. I think again, Obsessed is it's incredibly. But I mean, Obsessed is a widget. You know, it's a gadget. It's something you can pick up and play with and like look. Oh wow, it's so intricate and like this is how it works. And eventually you're gonna put it down. Whereas Kill Everyone now is something else, and it's not always what I'm in the mood for, but I think it is important, and I think it is like a distillation of one of the poles of what No Means No is and wants you to know about and think about.
Yikes.
Shit. All right, Strangey, where are you at?
Well, I'm the person who's going to hold on to the widget and I'm not going to let go. I'm totally voting for Obsessed.
Nice.
One of my favorites they ever wrote. God damn, I'm voting for that. But I kind of had a feeling that this episode would be doing what's happening right now. I kind of think I know what's going to happen.
I don't know, man.
Jordan?
I'm telling you right now, like I'm actually kind of torn. I'm not as clear on this as you might think. This is, I could actually kind of go either way because I actually think both these songs, Obsessed is clearly the better song musically. It just is. It's a fucking, from a musicianship perspective.
Oh wow. Okay.
It is so tight and so unique and so brilliant in that sense that it's hard for me to not choose it because it's so inventive in that way. But I am going to vote for Kill Everyone now. I think it's their most. I think it's more important in their oeuvre, and I hate that. Right? Like I feel I can hear Andy talking in my ear right now, just being like, "God damn it, you guys! Like, quit giving Rob's epics their push through." But I have to, man. It's just this is a. It's and this is my bias. I'm going to say that right now. I am biased with words. I am biased with it. I'm biased not just with words. I'm biased with vocal performance. I'm biased with what the voice of No Means No, any of them singing, I'm biased about what that adds to a song. And when a song is absent that, there's something really fundamental that's absent. Doesn't make it Obsessed is brilliant, but without the, because No Means No brings such a brilliance and otherness to their vocal performance, when a song is absent to that, up against a song that has it in such spades, I can't pick that over the other. Because just for me, that is such a vital part of what makes them important and different as a band. There are bands I love, Stratosphere, Bungle, Secret Chiefs 3, that actually can play songs like Obsessed that maybe even run circles around Obsessed in terms of intricacy. But there's never any band that will surpass the vocal performance of Andy or Rob in the way they sing. And so when I'm thinking about their songs of what means more to me, I got to pick the one that includes that element, at least in this pairing.
Do you want to ride on the Scrambler, or do you want to go for a walk in a very slightly maybe dangerous windstorm and rainstorm at night?
That's right.
Where a tree might fall on you and you might get cold and wet.
I'm going to go for the Scrambler.
It's exhilarating.
But
You know?
Obsessed and Some Bodies are brilliant, and I hate to fucking not have them come back. They are both brilliant.
I know.
This is not
Yeah.
easy.
I think we should stop.
I mean, I
this.
tried to make my case, but it's not. This is not easy. Well, back to the spoiler in the beginning. There's none of this means anything.
Right.
You all
No,
know that.
I know.
This is
but
all
it
bullshit.
Still blows.
It
still
blows, but it's no bullshit. Doesn't mean anything. We're wrong. I'm wrong.
I know, but
I'm
it
sure
still
I'm wrong.
blows.
It's all subjective, and I clearly, as people listen to this, we each have our own widgets.
Yeah.
In that sense,
I
we've got our own slice.
I totally figured the voting would happen this
I'm
way.
sure. I wasn't. I was
and
actually literally, though. I'm not being hyperbolic. I wasn't sure about my vote on the last one. I really
Neither was
wasn't.
I. Neither was I.
It was close.
Mhm.
It still could be a toss up. A different day, I could feel differently. There have been days when I've been listening to these songs leading up to this, which have been many months of this, 2
Right,
months,
yeah.
where I've gone like, "Oh, it's obsessed." Are you kidding me? Of course, it's obsessed.
Yeah.
And then I'd listen again and go like, "Oh, but yeah, okay." So here we are. All right, folks. Well, we did it. We sang "Put Mary up to the higher graces," and Some Bodies gets to be remain in the earthly realm. Kill Everyone Now lives to kill another day, and Obsessed will have to become someone else's obsession. No Means No Thing is produced and edited by yours truly, Jordan Flato. Co-hosting and excellent podcast graphics are by Matthew Kowalik.
Yeah.
Michelle Strangest is our third and everyone's favorite, especially Andy Kerr's favorite co-host and
Come
official
on.
Foley artist. Shout out to our official mascot, Teddy Scritchies.
Teddy.
Thank you to No Means No for the use of stock taking as our intro and outro music. This loneliness is a lie. This loneliness is a lie.
You sick and tired of the same old thing? Or are you happy enough? Tell me, when there's so much, it comes so little. When there's too little, become too much. When there's so much, becomes so little. When there's too little, become too
All right,
much.
you've stuck around, some of you,
Oh.
to hear our reactions to the...
What's the number of this one? 64?
This was 62. So next one's
Okay,
63.
63 is next.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, all right. Fuck.
Uh-oh.
All right. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about this one, but I don't know that it's... I don't know
Usually
where
I
you
know
guys
what
are
I
going to
vote
come...
for.
I don't know where you
right
guys are
when
going
you
to come
do
down.
this. I know what I vote for when you do this part.
So it's in the chat. Oh, and this is another good one. Fuck. Wow, this is going to be an interesting episode. This is a eclectic episode, I think, this next one.
Wait,
guys-
I
you
gotta
guys-
get the chat back. Where the fuck did it go?
Get the chat. I like this. I'm excited about this one. It's going to be different.
Where'd it go? Oh,
You got that?
oh,
Do you have your votes locked in? I don't
Yep.
think I have my... I think I do have my
No.
votes locked in,
I
but...
have to think about that.
But
I think I do. Yes,
I do
have
on
my
one of them
votes
for
already.
sure. I do on one of them for sure. And the other one, I'm not so sure. Wow. All right. This could be an interesting episode.
Gotta go by my gut.
So keep listening, everybody. I think we've got some exciting stuff coming up in the next couple of months. I don't know when, but, as usual, stay tuned. And also, before I forget, this is really
Thanks for
important.
tuning in and thanks for coming back.
Yeah. And I really
yeah.
want to make sure you remember, fuck off.
God.
Where's the stop button?